and they are on the Buckinghamshire station. And in terms of local crews, Helen, you don't get much more local than Henley Rowing Club, do you?
No, not at all. Particularly the junior programme at Henley Rowing Club for the women have been extremely successful over the last few seasons here at Women's Henley and also at Royal. So it's and national schools. I believe the majority of their squad came back with Sumbling from the recent championships.
Well, they always do. They've built a bit of a dynasty there, to be totally honest. I mean, they first really established themselves as contenders on the junior women's circuit. It must have been 5-6 years ago when I was still a junior, and since then they've just gone from strength to strength to strength. And every time a Henley crew comes out to compete, be it national, regional, international event, you know they're going to be top quality. And the thing that is concurrent with all Henley crews is they are exceptionally well drilled. They're not always the most powerful crews on the circuit, but they row so well together. And watching that quad there at the bottom of your picture, the drone shot's giving us wonderful insight into how both crews scull, and it is Henley who are dominating this. And you'd expect that from a Henley crew.
Well, there's certainly a lot of support from the Scullers supporters from the bank. You can hear it from our box. You can see at the moment that Henley are striking 35, and we've got Scullers there at 36, so it's very, very competitive there. It's worth mentioning that this junior quadruple sculls for J16 is sponsored by Nina Padrick, and it's for the Nina Padrick Trophy this year. So we very much thankful for that sponsorship and the support for this trophy and for the regatta, of course. So hopefully it looks like this race between these two crews will work. Potentially, we'll hopefully to start seeing a move from Tideway Scullers and to try and get back on terms, because otherwise, if they don't start making that move soon, and I think they are trying it now from the overhead picture, is they're going to run out of track. But it's certainly Henley Rowing Club are looking the more dominant force in this match up at this stage.
Well, I think you touched on a very important point there, Helen, as we watch these crews come down the course against the beautiful Henley backdrop. We do have to thank all our supporters and all our sponsors, because the Henley Women's Regatta was actually in relative financial difficulty a number of years ago, and it's turned itself around and it's become an absolute stalwart of the rowing calendar under Miriam Batten and all of her committee. And we would like to thank everyone who supports the regatta and who supports junior rowing at its grassroots level. And this is a perfect example of what can be achieved when you support young people in their quest to win Olympic gold. And speaking of young quest to win Olympic gold, we're going to move back up to the start for race 188, and it's the last of the Junior 16 quadruple sculls quarterfinals. It's Hinksey Sculling School A on the Berkshire station and Surbiton High School on the Buckinghamshire station. So I don't know much about either of these crews, Helen. I don't know if can give us any insight.
Well, all I know is that briefly, Surbiton High School, I know that there's a relatively new programme for the school, and it was developed in recent years. Started life outside of Molesey Boat Club, so it had a very good foundation for its beginnings, and I believe that they have their own boathouse now further up the Thames on the Kingston Strait, and it's a developing programme, and we've already seen 3 crews today from Surbiton High, so it's obviously it's a programme to be watched. I know that their coach Pete Robinson himself is a European level rower. He's rowed for Great Britain in the previous cycle, and has been a long-term member of Molesey Boat Club. So they've got a very good person at the helm of this programme.
It seems to be working here, because they are well in contention for this quarter-final, the Junior 16 quadruple sculls. It's almost impossible to tell anything between the two crews as they make their way down the course. I'd probably venture a guess that Surbiton might have the slightest of advantages, but it is absolutely minimal at this stage.
Yeah, so you can. They're just coming into sight for us in front of our commentary box, and there's an applause from the bank for the two crews, and you can see how close it is now, and it looks like it's 3/4 of length to Surbiton High School. So it'll be now. Is Hinkley going to make that push, and are they going to make that call? We're passing that first third of the race, and it's that, as we were talking about before, is that if they don't make the move now, it's this animal of racing is side by side, two boats. You're either in or you're out. Is this the end of your season at the end of this race? And it's making that call from the relevant seat in these sculling events as to whether they can come back on terms. And looking at now back as going into the distance, so you can see Hinkley are just a little bit more central in their station, and the umpire's not made too many concerns at this stage, but hopefully that they're just aligning a little bit more so that they're just not doing too much on their rudder in this race.
Yeah, it's been an impressive half of the middle of the race from Surbiton. They've really stretched out considering how close the two crews were. Well, I mean, I've left Helen in the lurch. So I looked down at my phone to check if I had any messages. I didn't, obviously. But I looked back up and Surbiton had moved out to a length and a half. Although they are in an interesting position in the river.
Yes, they're both sort of adapting. They'd like to be closer to each other than the booms, which I'm. To be fair, I'm not the biggest fan of those booms, because if you are too close, it is going to be a painful clip. So I'd rather be sort of almost cuddling the other crew in a way. But at the same time, is that we want to be fair on each station, making sure that they've both got equal chance of getting the best water possible. And at the moment, it looks like Surbiton High are certainly making the best of it.
I suppose what makes this course so contentious is that traditionally in rowing you have buoyed courses, whereas here the whole course is encapsulated within booms and there's no real red line down the middle. So crews are, the lanes are open to interpretation. I think crews stretch the word interpretation sometimes, and certainly Surbiton had turned that into a bit of a head race there. Yeah, well,
I was just thinking the head racing. It's certainly an interesting animal. Is going into the winter season where it's singular racing, and you're looking at trying to get past the next crew and sort of try and push the racing line where possible. And it's in the summer racing calendar, you're kind of looking at it being straight lines, a little nudge on the rudder as possible.
Well, I think we'll leave that race. It looks like